car.
She said that too.
MI5 was tasked with killing her. MI6 was tasked with protecting her. MI6 sent the decoy and took Diana out the back of the hotel because they knew the hit was on. So the lookalike don't even look like Diana. She just had a blind wig on, and they had her looking down when she was walking to the car, so they couldn't see her face. That's how they extracted her.
Okay. I'm just over here. All right. That's what's up. So if y'all don't have any more questions, I'm gonna let Rod have the rest of his evening, and I'm gonna end this live stream. I want to say thank you, Rod. Most definitely, you have. I know I kind of took it in a different realm, but that's only because I know who my listeners are. And I wanted them to be able to ask you questions that they might not necessarily hear the answers from on other platforms that you are able to speak on, or that people bring you on. I wanted to kind of change it up a little bit and just us be us, but allow you to be you and allow them to
Well, we didn't really have a topic. We was just coming over here for some real talk with Drea.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He asked me, he said, well, what do you want to talk about? I said, I really want to do a Q&A. Just, whatever they want to ask. And I'm asking some questions, and that's just what it is. So yeah. I'm thoroughly, people are saying this was amazing. They're really excited about it. I'm showing there's so much gratitude right now for even just blessing my platform and being here. I thank you for that.
Appreciate you. Make my eyes happy.
People are saying thank you so much. Thank y'all for coming on with us and engaging with us, and asking questions and building, participating, things like that. We're gonna do some more of this. But definitely I wanted Rod to come on because this is my brother, my friend, a God. I just really respect him, and so I asked him, and he's like, of course. So it was just, I don't know, I'm thankful.
Well, I'm always grateful to come in and talk to one of the sisters, especially one of the divine feminine. I ain't got to argue with. I ain't got to call you no colorful words or nothing.
Oh, this is what I got before ending this off. What is it that the men can do in our community amongst people that are us and that look like us, and as well as the goddesses? Well, the guys and the goddesses, what is it that they can do? What is it that we can do collectively to help with the movement of our people and going further?
The first thing y'all have to do is understand this shit is over with. Second thing that follows that is stop supporting the dead system. You sending your children to this fake education system, but this is where they stealing our babies from. They catching them on the way to and from school, and all of them don't hit the news. Most of them don't hit the news. If they don't got blonde hair and blue eyes, it's almost impossible for them to hit the news. But they taking our children going to and from school. They miseducating them in school on purpose. The curriculum is designed to dumb them down. So what we need to start doing in the community is take control of our children's education by formulating homeschooling groups first. Stop using the public system. Shut that bitch down for the mistreatment and the miseducation of the youth. That's the biggest deal right now besides the workforce. Right? So I walked off my job because the shit was foul. It wasn't right. And they had us under those contracts, and I ain't with the bullshit. Right? So when I seen the fix was in, I was out. But a lot of people scared to walk away from their jobs, but it's okay because the economy gonna collapse so bad you ain't gonna have no job to go to. The Pope calling in the money is watch that shit. Watch what the stock market is doing as they funneling money back to the Vatican in real time. Every day, trillions or billions of dollars a day is going back to the Vatican. Right?
Remember you?
Yeah, I remember you too. I was watching the live. I really liked tonight's live,
Y'all are such like genuine people. Oh, last time we talked, I reached out to, like someone to talk to, like a therapist, and she helped out a lot, because I kind of deal with a little bit of depression. So, but it's okay. She helped me have good like communication and stuff. And tonight's live was really good to like think about, culture and autonomy and self accountability, and so it really brought out a lot with the live because well, one thing I learned is that I need to not research too much. I mean, it's a good thing to be book smarts and street smarts and stuff, and to learn stuff and educational wise, but I'm actually starting to not research too much where it gets away with life stuff, like feeding myself and socializing. Yeah.
Well, you gotta remember, you don't have to be obsessed with studying, but you can always take a book. So if you're waiting somewhere, you can read a couple pages, right? The book ain't stopping you from going where you're going, and it's giving you something to do to not waste time waiting in vain.
Yeah.
Right? So you can take your studies on the go with you.
Yeah. Because I realize I think I'm like a scholar, I have an itch to read about just weird things that be so cool. And then I find out myself because I want to see it, And then I be watching it be just simple things like mushrooms, and I like to learn about, property and land, because one day I do want to own land. I want to have like, not a farm, but I do want to have like a big lot for myself. And I want to just, tend to the land and maybe even see a weird looking mushroom, and I just be watching them grow and stuff. But yeah, with the accountability and learning about our culture and stuff, that's like a big deal. And what we did in the past, we're kind of doing it right now. And a lot of people don't realize it, that we are actually a very autonomic people, original people, very autonomous, built ourselves up without a lot of help. And one thing is that a lot of people took that from us, and it's not fair, and we're gonna take it back. It's really cool that we're learning that, to fend for ourselves, and doing it ourselves. And I think that's what we're learning for ourselves too. So,
Well, you got to remember this. The better you build yourself, the more useful you are to the most amount of people.
yeah.
You can do more good by building yourself first than if you deplete yourself before you finish building yourself.
That's pretty.
It's a process. Many of us try to help other people before we get built up sufficiently strong enough to carry that load, and it end up breaking us, either financially, mentally, emotionally. But once we get the self, I call this constructive selfishness. If you can take care of yourself and make yourself valuable to your community, where you can be an asset everywhere you go, or your other option is to overburden yourself before you're ready and crumble. It would be better to build yourself up on your own terms so that you can do the most amount of good. Because if you allow it to break you down, then you're no good to yourself or nobody else.
Yeah.
So you got to be good to yourself for yourself first before you can be of any use of good to anyone else. That's why I tell women, take at least an hour a day to get you some me time. Whether you want to read a book, take a bath, or smoke a blunt, sit in the motherfucking shade, drink a beer, You got to get that chance to unwind so that you can be strong enough to face the next day.
Yeah. So I learned that a lot about myself, taking care of myself, and it helped me because what I want to do, I want to well, one, I want to own property. That's one. And then two, I want to be someone that research biological sexualities. Something's like a sexual like a what's a geneticist, but they some form of something, I don't know. I'm going to do more research on it, but I want to research biological sexualities, and they're there. It's just we don't.
That's a field of psychology.
Yeah.
And it has an extensive amount of research material that falls under that banner.
Yeah.
Right. And
That's
yeah. I read quite a bit of psychological childhood sexual development, and some of the books and experiments they did to get the information is absolutely repulsive.
Yeah.
It is horrible.
Yeah.
But if you're going to be in the field, you have to be exposed to the horrible nature of being in that field. What the children went through to get the information to write about their sexuality was pure and unadulterated exploitation of a child. But the child was used in science as a sacrifice. And that's what made the research into that field of study so traumatic for me personally.
Yeah, I don't know why they teach children about sex, but I want to focus on the biological reproductions of adults, and not just adults. I'm talking about animals, insects, plants, and chemicals, and oxygen. You know, they're all types of reproductive systems that just doesn't have a penis or a vagina. You know, and talking about your entire system. Like, for example, your hair, you know, your eyes, your organs, that all plays a part in your reproductive system. And that is called your sexuality, of biological sexuality. And most people focus on just only the penis and the vagina area and the baby coming out. One plants the seed, one comes out, and the baby coming out. That's not the only process. That's the final results. That's the ending process. That's not the case when it comes to your organs, you know? So I just really like, I'm really into that stuff. And a lot of people can't really explain biological sexualities to different species because they don't have the finances, or people die in the jungle or something. I actually ask people, like, why don't they actually give us our proper identification? And they're just like, oh, the military and all that stuff, that costs money, and you know, people die early, you know, people don't live long. And I was like, what? Yeah, it was crazy, but that's what I want to do. But first, I'm focusing on myself, though. I'm trying to, you know, heal myself, you know, to, you know, get out of, you know, depression and stuff, you know, because I'm dealing with that. But because I researched too much, mainly on that topic.
Do you know that one of the most unknown causes of depression is malnutrition?
Yes, the food that I be eating. I'm a little skeptical about everything that I eat. Sometimes I don't feed myself, and I'm in malnutrition. I did tell my therapist I need to talk to a nutritionist, and she said you should, because you're very, you know, detail orientated and picky on what you eat. And I am, you know, and sometimes I give up and I binge and I choose processed foods because I hate that, you know, I'm angry. It's angry. I try to pick stuff that's crunchy, you know, and it's processed. And I get so angry and I'm mad, and I get and I binge. And that's what I do sometimes. Like,
So this is the exercise you should start to practice. When you start feeling that way,
okay.
you use self-talk.
Oh.
Why do I feel this way? What's the root cause? Instead of giving in to the drive created by feeling a certain way, by turning it into a learning of self-experience, you take away all of the toxic behaviors that feeling certain ways can cause. And the more toxic behaviors you purge from the self, the more functional you are in communication with others.
Yeah. Because, yes, sometimes I don't know how to communicate correctly. I had speech therapy some months ago, and that really did help me communicate my thesis on biological sexualities. That did help me communicate correctly with people. Because a lot of people thought I was talking about, gay people. And I was like, no, I'm specifically focusing on the biological. And they're like, but there's only one biological sexuality, and it's heterosexual. And I was like, that's actually not true. Heterosexuality explains to you the final demonstration. It's not telling you the process of your organs and how the whole procreation even
Well,
happened.
you got to look at what you're looking at is only one part of what's taking place in the biology of the species anyway. When you're talking about sexuality, you're talking about a very specific part of functionality. When you're talking about biological, you're talking about it in relation to the body. So the sexuality in relation to the body is different than the psychological expression of the sexuality. The physiological expression of the sexuality, what you do with your body to show your sexual feelings to the world. This is the same way that different species of animals have mating rituals that make them adorn themselves with stuff that's foreign to the bird or whatever the species is in order to allure a mate. Some species allure a mate by building a home. Others lure a mate by stealing a home, right? All of these different things we see in nature, we can see it all play out with people. Because even though we think that we so smart and intelligent, we still have a natural function as a species that we don't deviate from. But when you talk biological sexuality, you're talking about one specific thing. But when you give the description, you're describing multiple things under the heading of a thing that all of them don't apply.
I think you just touched something. I need to look into that more because maybe I'm just not putting the right words correctly, but I am saying something that's about to happen. I don't know what it is. I'm not saying I see the future. I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. And when you do what you're supposed to do, I guess you get gifts, to
Mhm.
put it in big terms. But I am talking about something that is soon to happen. Identification. That's a big deal for some reason. I don't know why that keeps popping up in my brain cells, but identification, for some reason, that's something big. And I keep saying biological sexualities, but I like talking about that stuff. It's a good part to help me research because I want to be a scholar. So
Well, when I was studying sexuality, I even studied the single cell organisms mating rituals. So I know what you're talking about. It also led me into studying different pornographic ideologies, like studying the Kama Sutra, India, studying the geisha, Japan, studying the hustler history of the magazine, Playboy magazine, and the Empire Hugh Hefner. But all of this was me studying sexuality among the human species because everything we do, we think is unique to the human species, but it's all played out by other species of animals under different pretexts throughout the whole of nature, right? So we dress nature up in all kind of fancy shit and say it's something different than nature, right? We try to make nature be what we want it to be instead of recognizing it for what it is. And then understanding that the human is one of the few animal species that can deviate from the laws of nature by application of the will. So the fascination with the study of sexuality in all its forms is a natural curiosity for most people, even if they try to conceal it.
Yeah. It does help me push on to researching other stuff about the world. And it's really just mainly about, bugs and mushrooms, especially. I don't know what it is, but mushrooms remind me of fish, like octopuses and squids. But they look so cool. But, oh, let me tell you something. My birthday was on Friday. Yeah.
Oh, happy belated birthday,
Yeah.
sweetie.
I turned 25.
Go on with your bad self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went out with friends, my party friends, where we just walk around and see the lights. But they're more the fun people. But I don't push them on where I'm like book smarts and studying and stuff. They're not the people for that. They're more like, let's go out, see the lights, let's walk around.
Mhm.
So I don't
Well,
really.
that's how you protect your inner child.
Yeah.
Because your inner child is your natural innocence, and yours is very prominent.
Yeah.
The,
I take care of it.
the people in the comments, they love you. They send you so much love, and they recognize in your youthful energy,
Yeah.
right? Some of them even think you a fairy.
Okay. I take care of 2-year-olds. So that pretty much I've been like this before I got the job. Like I took the classes and everything, and they were like, how did you finish your classes? But you didn't have to pay for it. You could have just, got hired and took the classes for free. And I was like, no, I just got it all done and over with before. So they immediately made me the lead teacher, and I took care of the babies like I did. I'm like, they're so cute, like 2-year-olds, like all of them. Like either if they're like Spanish or Asian. I even learned different cultures and different, biology, genetics parts. I just learned a lot. You would think this child is like Chinese, but they're actually Hispanic. So they just look different. They just it's really cool to be around babies.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you a secret. A lot of Mexicans have a lot of Chinese in their blood.
Yeah. I was like, whoa, I thought the child was this parent's, and the teachers are like, just make sure you just remember the parents' faces. But like other than that, like they're very smart. You would think.
They think I'm talking about one thing and I'm talking about a whole nother subject, but my people know exactly what I'm talking about. And you got these clowns talking about poofy hair, right? Go wash your vagina, you stinking ass man. Walking around, your uterus fell out. Think you a man. You's a bitch ass nigga. On my shit. You still one of them motherfuckers that think a nationality overrides a sovereign right. Stupid ass. Right? Look, all of these motherfuckers knew I was coming. They just didn't know that I would look like this. They all knew I was coming, but they didn't know I'd look like this. A regular old motherfucker. I look like the uncle that you seen last week, or the cousin that's coming over for dinner tonight, or your sister homeboy. It don't matter. They didn't expect this shit. They didn't expect that I would pull a motherfucking scab off they sore on their ass so I can continue to spank them some more. I ain't got no retreat, no back down in this motherfucking shit. Just then look at the audacity of the ones in charge. They send the most uninformed, lowest ranking minion they can find to crash out. They not gonna send, cause the ones who know, like, man, I'm not finna go over there and humiliate myself trying to fuck with that nigga. That nigga he know what he talking about. But they catch one of them fools. They catch one who don't know, and he think he know cause he arrogant. What he think is knowledge is pure arrogance, right? It's ego-driven bullshit. And then he gonna try to tell somebody something as if the people that's been watching Rod Hayes for the last 2 years, haven't seen more receipts. The only motherfucker that dropped more receipts that's referenceable than me is Malachi York. He the only motherfucker got more receipts than me. And then I'm not sure he got more receipts than me because I got receipts that I haven't seen him with. But I can tell you what, we know who we be. DMX, Chief Zolo, Notorious B.I.G., Chief Sitting Bull. You don't even know who these people is when they come back in this lifetime because you stuck on the history books and they whitewash history to mislead you about who they was in the last one. ODB, Chief Crazy Horse. I could do this shit all day. I could sit here and just run down who chiefs that y'all have seen and didn't even know. Califia Queen. Y'all know her as Lisa Left Eye Lopez. Califia Queen. Y'all called her Aaliyah. And she exposed y'all who the fraud was in her land when she did Queen of the Dam and pointed out Kim Kardashian, but you wasn't paying attention because you think you know some shit, but you don't know nothing about the tribes. You see, I look South African. What's going on, right? And they so hurt. Some of the elders been telling them what's going on, and they so hurt. The only reason why we here is because the Dirty Moors wanted to replace the natives that was already here, so they went into an amnesia war. Who can wake themselves up first? Look, if I was a prophet, would you watch me rise or talk about me bad, be government spies, despise me for relentless pursuit of the truth, send suicide bombers to execute me in the booth? You can kill the man but can't kill the source. Man, if I was a prophet, you couldn't alter my course. That's if I was a prophet. I'm just saying. Welcome to the End Times Prophecies, motherfucker, where you see these motherfuckers manifesting what was written in your books just for the explicit purpose of telling you how to get free. And all you want to do is stay trapped in your bondage and keep as many people trapped with you that follow that false narrative bullshit that these secret societies has pushed out as information. Look, 99% of the world's population was illiterate before 1900. Do the math. Who was doing the writing? If 99% of the world's population was illiterate before 1900, who was doing all the writing? The 1%, the secret societies, the guilds, the brotherhoods, right? And who was running the governments back then? If 99% of the people was illiterate, who was running the government? Right? 1%, the secret societies, the guilds. Y'all motherfuckers kill me with this shit. Look, all of the historical texts through the universities had to be approved by one of the secret societies or it wouldn't be accessible to the public. All of the texts that came to us through university had to be approved by a secret society to reach the people. Who was it that decided to put slave narratives written by educated slaves in a book? Think about that shit for a minute. In the time of so-called slavery in these slave narratives, when 99% of the world's population was illiterate, right? Who was writing this fucking perfect English, perfect French, perfect whatever Arabic? Who was writing this shit if only the 1% was readers and writers? Oh yeah, I'm gonna say this shit. Look, these motherfuckers don't be knowing that I really do know what I'm talking about, and they want to assume that I don't. What's going to be the shocker is when all of the people that you thought was the power wielders come ass kissing. They don't got to kiss my ass because they can't get shit from me. Everything got to come through Big Mama. All of these motherfuckers y'all think heavy hitters. I don't care if they celebrities, if they motherfucking businessmen, if they politicians, they gonna all come ass kissing if they ain't executed to Big Mama. And that includes your chief. If you think that if you think you outdoor and native, right? If you think you outdoor and native, when this is all of this shit said and done, whoever you claim your chief is, watch who that motherfucker go give his honors to. Big Mama. Why you think we playing? And y'all thinking this shit is a game, or this is some shit that some nigga just came out of nowhere talking about we was already here and we didn't come from overseas and all this shit. Wait until this shit come out into the mainstream. Right now, we still underground. Why we still underground? It's not that we hadn't, because we doing everything according to the ancestral mandates by the book that they gave us called the Book of Life. This called the redemption process, and we redeeming all of the righteous. And all you motherfucking $1.25 Indians on these motherfuckers who claim that we don't know what we talking about, when it's all said and done, y'all motherfuckers gonna have to come to us to be authorized to walk this goddamn land. Otherwise, you're gonna get treated like the enemy, rounded up with the enemy, and disposed of like the enemy. Right? This motherfucker on here talking about some CIA knowing he a whole agent. He know he a whole agent. He ain't even $5 Indian. He $1.25 Indian. All of the